Well, hello and welcome. My name is Dave Coplin, and it's my absolute pleasure to bring you this fabulous conversation on behalf of Huawei and their incredible Seeds of the Future program. Every year, for the last 10 years, Huawei has selected some of the best and brightest students from engineering and computer science and mathematics and provided them with a once-in-a-lifetime experience, hardwiring them directly into the incredible innovation and inspiration being created by Huawei and the technology industry in China. For 4 weeks, the students get to immerse themselves not just at the epicenter of innovation, but also in traversing thousands of years of Chinese culture in Beijing to gain a unique perspective that connects the past through the present into the future. From learning Mandarin and walking the Great Wall, Huawei's campus and bustling electronics markets of Shenzhen, the students are immersed in a range of experiences that seek to broaden their horizons and ambitions and help them prepare for their future careers. And it's the future that drives this program for Huawei. Their goal is to help cultivate young talent, to build on their enthusiasm and ambition, opening their eyes and minds into new experiences, new technologies, and new possibilities. It's a fascinating program that seeks to blend technical excellence and innovation with cultural awareness and recognition of the deeply digital connected world that's emerging ever quicker as we dive deeper into the 21st century. But look, that's enough from me. Let's hear from the people that experienced all of this firsthand. Let's meet our seeds of the future. First up, I'd love to introduce you to Nikita Malik. Nikita, could you just give us a brief overview about yourself? And I'd also love to hear, what was your most favorite experience as part of your experience on the seed of the future?
So hello, I'm Nikita Malik, and I was at the SEEDS program in 2016 while I was completing my third year at UCL, studying EEE. So SEEDS was an absolutely fantastic experience. China, I visited it for the first time during that time, and cultural shock ever so slightly, but I saw a lot of similarities between my culture back in India and the Chinese culture. But I think one of the most memorable experiences have to be learning Mandarin in Beijing. At the same time, visiting Huawei HQ in Shenzhen.
That's great. Thanks, Nikita. Next, we've got Jayant Roy. Same question for you, Jayant. Tell me a bit about yourself and your favorite part of the experience.
So and I just recently graduated from Electronics and Information Engineering from King's College London, and I went on the Seeds for the Future program at 2018. And there's so many memories to pick from if you're asking about my favorite. But I think one of the biggest ones that jump out to me was the electronics market in Shenzhen. Just seeing the sheer scale of what's going on in there, it was just such an eye opener. And it's something I'll never forget.
Yeah, I love the sound of that. We're going to come back to that one, I think, Jane. Finally, we have Matt Timmons-Brown. Matt, tell us a bit more about yourself and your favorite memory of the program.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Matt. I was on the SEEDS program in 2019. I'm a third year computer science student at the University of Edinburgh. My favorite part of the program, being able to sort of live in Shenzhen for over 2 weeks, being able to experience those electronics markets that were just mentioned, and just sort of being surrounded by the tech culture in Shenzhen. So that was visiting Huawei's HQ, but also the companies that we got to visit around Shenzhen. They were some real highlights for me.
And what I love about the program was how Huawei thought to blend the cultural experience with the technical experience. Look, I'm a lifelong technologist, and so I would just be all about the gadgets and the bright lights and all that stuff. But I think what's really important as we move forward into sort of increasingly global society is that we have this broader cultural experience. Matt, I mean, how was that? Talk about some of the experiences you had from a cultural perspective, and how do they sort of impact and influence you now?
So with the program, it was sort of like this perfect mix of culture and language and all of the tech side of things. So very much enjoyed all of these sort of cultural experiences, learning about China firsthand and sort of experiencing things. It's very, very different culture to the British culture, obviously, and being able to experience that, learning some of the language and sort of understanding some of the history of China was extremely interesting and sort of provides like a greater cultural understanding that fits into the technology side of things as well. So it helps you understand why China is such a massive technology player as well.
Yeah, and I love the marrying of those two worlds. I think it's so important for us. Nikita, I think I'm really interested to hear from you, because I know you've got this fascinating perspective, having spent, about half your life in India and half your life in the UK. How did you find the culture in China? How did it compare to your experiences?
It was a whole new thing for me. Beijing especially was quite interesting. People coming up to you and taking your photographs, posing with you, selfies and everything. So that was a little interesting. Other than that, I think it was an enjoyable experience. I didn't feel out of place as much after a few days, of course.
That's great. And Jen, how about you? What was your cultural highlights?
So cultural highlight would have been, I think, one of the tea ceremonies, and then I think there were certain customs with the food when you go out and eat. There's certain things that you do and don't do. And it was really nice to just experience those customs. So staying in China for about a month, you do have to, go out, buy groceries. You do go out and see as much of the cities as possible. And that gave me some sort of a ground that I could connect to international students with, one from China. So now I have much more to talk to and much more to bond over.
Now I want to sort of turn to your careers, or the sort of the prospect of your future careers. And I'm really curious to find out how the program might have influenced either your career choices or even where you think about working. Now, Nikita, I know that you're already working, so it'd be great to hear about what you're doing now, but also to hear if the program sort of influenced your choices in any way.
I'm at RS Components at the moment. I'm a performance engineer there. As a performance engineer, I think Huawei just opened my horizons a bit, kind of understanding people from different places. So I think it helped me in that manner, and it definitely made me more confident to explore more options, even in a company I am now.
Yeah, I think that's super important, isn't it? Because it's so hard when you come out after years of study, and I'm not just thinking about your university course, but I'm also thinking about the study leading to that. And then you're in this huge world with everything changing, and even before the pandemic, everything was changing. And that concept of confidence, I think, becomes really important for you to carry forward. And I love that the program was able to give you a bit of that. But next up for you, Jen, how about your experience on the program? Did that sort of change the way you think about where you want to be in the future?
Yeah, in the sense that it made me a lot more open to pursuing roles outside the UK, because I've had that initial shock where the culture was also different, and it took me a while to get used to it. But once I've gotten used to it, I've realized that now when I go someplace else, move and work someplace else, it won't be so shocking and I'll be okay. So in that sense, yeah, it's opened my horizons, and if there's a job that I really want, but it's outside the UK, I'll still go for it.
Let's talk about technology for a bit. Jen, I'm like massively jealous because I like you, and forgive me, you may not like this phrase, but I'm a massive geek and I kind of feel that you are too. Tell me about Shenzhen. Tell me about the markets there. Is it as amazing as I've heard it is?
If you go to Curry's right now, you'll see a laptop and phone, just the daily things. Over there, you saw this guy just driving a remote controlled car, and then suddenly it starts flying because it's also a drone. You'd see electric scooters going 60 kilometers an hour, and you just see everyone just trying their hands at what's the craziest thing they can do. And it's the sheer scale of it. It's like seeing Harrods, but 3 times the size, just going on for a straight mile, and it's all tech. It's all speakers, phones, TVs, projectors. It's crazy.
Well, that's just amazing. Now, of course, all of that consumer technology isn't much use if we don't know what to do with it. So let's talk technical skills for a bit. Nikita, tell me a little bit about the technical side of the things that you learned while you were on the program. What was that like?
Yeah, so sitting in on the ICT course was fantastic. Learning about 5G, cloud computing was fantastic. I think one of my highlights was going to the labs at Huawei and actually working on a project over there with my teammates. That was superb, actually having hands-on experience. So I think that was my highlight.
Other sort of technical skills that I was able to gain through the trip, at least, and I'm sure the others probably echo the same, was through the business visits. So through the trip, we had numerous sort of visits to companies large and small in Beijing and Shenzhen. And so, for example, one of my personal highlights was getting to visit a company called Evoke Motorcycles in Beijing, an electric motorbike startup. And so that was very interesting just to sort of see a new sort of paradigm of technology. So it's a completely different business to Huawei. They're building electric motorbikes and thinking about sort of problems that they face from getting batteries that have large ranges and fast acceleration on their motorbikes and things. And so that was just completely new sort of technical stuff that we got exposed to through these business visits that we did on the trip as well.
What's the one thing that you would tell somebody who's just about to embark on their own Seeds of the Future program?
So the one thing that I tell a future Seeds for the Future is don't waste any opportunity on the program. It was the most jam-packed month of my entire life. It was also probably the best month of my life so far, in terms of the experiences that you get to have from everything that you do on the trip, in terms of with Huawei and with learning Mandarin and things, but also in terms of the experiences that you have. You have to remember that you're in a trip with 49 or however many other STEM students from all across the country. And it was amazing to get to meet different people from different universities. And I made some lifelong friends on the trip because you get to share this insanely fast-paced, insanely amazing experience together. So yeah, try to get away with sleeping as little as possible so that you maximize every hour when you're over there.
It's been wonderful that you've been able to share that. And thanks to you for the audience for joining. And on that note, I've been Dave Coplin. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Nikita. Thank you, Jayant. And thank you, Huawei, for the Seeds of the Future program. What an amazing initiative. And it's been great to share that with you today.